Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Popcross Studios about how Ludum's dragon enters the arena. This is Trismegistus Academy, episode 20. Now let's hop in and see how the fight continues.
Previously on the Trismegistus Academy.
Wait,
Hey, off-screen is the one given the previously on. Haha.
off-screen, you're doing previously on for this episode?
Yeah, why not? Might make it more interesting for folks who already know what's up, and for folks who's new to this series.
I guess,
Sounds
but
like
at this
a good
point,
idea.
are new people really clicking on videos in this series? We're on, like, episode 20 and only a couple away from the ending.
It's never too late to start watching. Besides, since the whole community redraw
He's
episode,
right.
this tournament arc could basically be a self-contained thing. New folks could just go back to that and start from there if they don't want to watch the entire series.
Yeah, kinda self-contained thing.
Yeah,
Alright, whatever.
kind of.
You go ahead.
Alrighty. War has broken out in Eloise Ludum's realm. The Mavericks from the Trismegistus Academy for Heroic Enlightenment, including
Woo-hoo!
some of the more well-known
Mavericks.
characters in Multiverse Tales, Jake Tajan and Anna Fens, who is a couple now by the way, were all
Yeah.
unknowingly trapped in one of Eloise Ludum's death arenas. That messed up their plan to get her out of her dimension to the shop gang who was waiting in Tayron's dimension to take her down. But with some good old help from
So
me,
close.
they managed to free their headmistress, Evangeline Trismegistus, who is this crazy powerful sorceress lady, thinking on like Doctor Strange kind of levels. And she then called in the rest of the shop
She's a Sorcerer Supreme? Huh, okay.
gang to this realm, changing up the plan to take down Ludum. Might not be the best idea since Ludum's way more powerful in her own realm, but hey, they're gonna try it out. Now while the kids are still in the arena with Ludum's top students from the Ludum Academy for Fearsome Fighters, or the
The last
LAFF,
academy.
and there's an invisible barrier over top of them reinforced by the 3 Archon demons who is here watching, the shop gang is now on the scene above and around the arena. To deal with them, Ludum has called on the rest of her students who was watching the Death Arena play out, and of course her whole army of horrifying laughing little monsters, both
Yep.
inside the arena and outside it, to fight
It's time to face the Laughing Dragon.
back as her own personal army. She's even called out the fabled Little Canis, who is a shoe that
Little
was
Canis,
first dropped back in
okay.
episode 1 when we started Alcai Lamani and Waru Umarek stories, who were both students of Ludum's but have now openly turned against her. So basically all you gotta know is everything's going nuts in this big dragon thing. So let's see how
Yeah,
all
pretty
this
much.
insanity shakes out in the next episode of the Trismegistus Academy. How was that?
Yeah, that was pretty good, but you probably should have also mentioned that the Archon Psychoparadelict seems particularly furious that you showed up in the arena,
Yeah.
since he thought he'd banished you and the team you were an intern for, the Film Fatales, from the multiverse, and he has a weirdly strong beef with you for your alleged reality warping abilities, ones that you can only use when nobody's looking at you. By the way, I found out this
Yeah.
weekend that Rick and Morty basically did a team that was exactly like the Film Fatales, but 3 years or something before we did. Like,
I mean, yeah, they actually did. They had Brett, Conti, Tenuity, Twist. There was the flashback. There was literally a whole episode. Let me actually look it up so y'all can go watch it. Season 6, Episode 7, Full Meta Jack Rick. That's the episode that introduces Brett Con and all the others. It was pretty much Rick's version of the Film Fatales. Check that out if you haven't. The characters are kind of funny.
not the same name, but
'Cause they're
basically the
dumb.
exact same concept. But oh well, my focus has never really been on originality anyway.
Like
So now let's
previously on-
launch into the next episode of the Trismegistus Academy. Alcai knew
How long was that? About 2.75 of a minute?
she should be focused
Damn.
on what was still happening in the arena. The
2 minutes,
Littles were
45
no
seconds.
longer slowly stalking around and attacking one at a time. They were all charging at students, moving in for the kill with more coming in from other arenas. She even saw the little
Oh,
Canis
boy.
in her peripheral vision fly down from the sky above into one of the further arenas. But that wasn't what she was focused on. She couldn't help but watch as the usually calm and peaceful Trismegistus Academy headmistress started channeling a massive
Trismegistus.
ring of energy around her to attack Ludum. The giant aura of a key surrounding
Final
Evangeline
fight.
split into 3 keys that floated around her, aiming their tips at Ludum. They started to spin, and
2 piece.
beams of bubbling, liquid-like neon energy exploded out of them towards the LAFF headmistress. Ludum thrust forward her arm made of tassels. It unbound and became like a twister of cloth. All 3 of Evangeline's beams funneled into it and were absorbed. Ludum smacked a button on her
Ooh.
stone control platform with her free hand, and it broke into
More like her only hand.
pieces beneath her. It turned into hovering stones and began floating behind her in a ring as she began to glow lime green and float in the air. The ring of rocks raised above her head and fired a green beam back at Evangeline. We've told this story before, Trismegistus. Do you need a reminder of how it ends? Ludum snarled.
Let me guess, the Vigilance series?
Evangeline's keys stopped spinning and firing. They came together, shrinking between her palms, as she held them in a prayer-like pose an inch before her forehead. She closed her eyes, but when she separated her hands, another eye opened in the middle of her brow. She
Ooh.
simply stared at the oncoming blast from Ludum. The coming energy suddenly changed from green to golden. Its form became more like that of Evangeline's liquid blasts.
Yes.
It sprouted a head like an eagle, then wings emerged from its side, and it curved away from Evangeline, then flew around her and swooped right back towards Ludum.
That's how
Ludum
you do it.
retracted her tassel-formed arm and grabbed one of the floating stones behind her. She thrust it forward, and the golden eagle coming for her suddenly shrieked in pain, as black veins sprawled through it, and it crumbled to dust. What Ludum hadn't seen, though, was that behind it came a barrage of stones carved into daggers. Eloise thrust all her platform stones in front of her, and a green translucent barrier formed between
Come on,
them.
Trismegistus.
But only after some of the daggers had gotten through, and carved across Ludum's arm, shoulder, and cheek. She let out a furious exhale, seeing Alexis Jones using her Reaper powers to summon more of those same stone seekers. The last thing Alcaya was able to watch of that fight was as the Archon Kaijagrex flew up on newly sprouted wings and yelled,
Sorry, Reaper, but you and your friends weren't a scheduled part of tonight's show.
Alcaya then heard her friends in the arena
So what are you gonna do, Kaijurex? You gonna stay and fight, or you gonna run and hide?
freaking out. Jake yelled, trying to remain as confident as possible, Anyone who isn't bordering on powerhouse level, fall back now. She looked across the field to see the Archon, Psycho Paradolict, landing down in the arena. He was staring daggers at Offscreen, who still had a dozen of Psycho's tendrils surrounding him, with cameras on their ends aimed at him, ensuring he was constantly being watched. A wave of those same tendrils suddenly burst out of the ground and started rolling under the Archon's feet, carrying him towards this new, strange, but helpful kid. Alcaya instinctively sprinted towards Alex. She didn't go all out with her super speed, as she didn't want to risk falling, and had to weave between some charging Luddles. But thankfully, other people were getting into the Archon's path to slow him down.
Big fight.
Waru, I require that full power-up once more. Tale yelled as she hurled her weapon towards the TV-headed demon. Can you handle another... We don't have time for questions, I guess. Waru sent all three of his ability orbs into Tale's chest, and her hair burst up into a white plume again. She teleported to her weapon as it
Super Saiyan mode.
flew right in front of the Archon. She
Actually, what would it be called? Just full power?
flipped over in the air and swung the Starblade. Without letting go of it, a massive slash of white light burst from it into Psycho. It carved through the stone ground like butter, but the Archon simply held his arm in front of his face and blocked it like he was brushing away a gust of wind. He kept coming at her, so she swung a fist right for his head. He
razor
let her
wind.
hit dead on and did stumble back slightly, stopping the wave of tendrils beneath him. The screen of his TV face even cracked.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, it just split open intentionally and revealed an orange sparking tongue. That thrust out of his mouth and lashed around Tale's
Oh god, I remember that form.
neck. Tale shrieked in pain as
Been a long
electricity
time,
surged
though.
across her body from the demon. Thankfully, Amelia, in her full monstrosity form, leapt across the field and punched the Archon in the side of the head. The impact sent a shockwave rolling across the arena, but the Archon barely turned with the blow. With two of his arms, he snatched Amelia's leg. He was about to snap it backwards over his own knee when Shinobu Kohaku slid across the ground in front of him and smashed her Konabo into the demon's ankle to slide his leg out from under where he was about to break Amelia. He instantly
You don't get to bane anyone.
reached
You
down
get
to grab
baned.
this third assailant when Darwin's Titano Boa lashed its tail around Psycho's other leg and yanked it out from under him. He dropped to his knee, but grabbed the snake with his arms not holding Amelia.
Are we done here? Have you kiddos gotten a nice little boost of confidence thinking you could actually handle an Archon? Because I've got a more irksome irritant to deal with.
Psycho hurled Amelia right at Tale, who was only slightly knocked back by the strike, but was already starting to hyperventilate from the triple power-up from Waru. Psycho then tore the titanic snake off his leg, whipped it around, and smacked Shinobu away with it, before
Oh,
tossing
damn it.
it back at Darwin. Thankfully, Anna got to him and phased him, so the snake passed right through them both.
No offense, Darwin, but I don't think Jake was counting you when he said powerhouses.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know, I just
Ouch.
couldn't resist taking a shot at an Archon. Meanwhile,
I think the best way for Darwin to grow to a powerhouse level would be for him to somehow start conjuring more than a single Jurassic creature. Maybe, of course, he can only do the one right now, but maybe he trains or gets some kind of power up to start something 2, then 3, and eventually has an army of at least 10 minimum.
Saya had gotten close to Offscreen, and he'd spotted her coming. She didn't know much about this kid other than what had been shouted between him, Ludum, and the Archons, but she had gotten a sense that he'd be way more help if she got him away from everybody's line of sight. If he really could warp reality when nobody was looking at him, maybe he could find a way to take out all of Ludum's monsters. Or maybe
That'd be
even
perfect.
Ludum herself. Alcaya leapt over one of Psycho's tendrils and scooped the kid up in her arms. His weight was definitely going to slow her down, but she didn't have to take him far. There was an opening back to the other arena where he'd just come out of 100 feet in the opposite direction of the Archon. She knew it was risky, but she tapped her foot 4 times to amp up her speed even more, then took off right towards the exit. But only got 1 step in, before a swirl of black clouds and glitching orange lightning cut into her path.
Oh,
And the Archon
shit.
teleported right in front of her. In one swift move, she dropped off screen and leapt over him, thrusting both her feet for the Archon's head. He caught her by the foot like a leaf in the wind and hurled her to the side. Her knee hyperextended as he tossed her, and she clenched her teeth to keep from crying out in pain.
Oh, that
She
has to
slammed to the
hurt.
ground and almost rolled into a pit of magma in the floor. She immediately tried to get up, but her leg buckled under her. She tried again and failed again. "Mavericks, get back up! Mavericks, get back up!"
Yes,
She
they
muttered
do, but you
angrily,
need
trying
help.
to run back to Offscreen, who was now held by the throat in Psycho Perdelict's clutches.
I didn't want to choke the life out of you, since I should technically take some responsibility for you existing, but I also can't call up another
Oh, Psycho technically created them? Huh.
portal out of this multiverse just willy-nilly, so I guess this is our only option, kid.
Not very sporting of you, brother.
Ooh,
Kaiju suddenly
speaks.
crashed down into the arena, dragging Ludum along with him.
Sail it from both sides, sister. I'm going to teleportation proof this time.
Romillisect flew down after him, then looked up towards the barrier. She bit her own hand, drawing black blood. She slurped some of it into her mouth, then blew out as if blowing a kiss. Hundreds of pink and black heart-shaped insects came swarming out of her mouth, flying right
gross.
into the barrier.
But okay.
As soon as they made impact, they exploded into bursts of pink mist, and the barrier started to glow red. Evangeline Trismegistus flew right into it from above. The barrier bent with her body, but didn't break.
Damn
Even
it.
Alexis flew
Come on.
towards it and slashed her Reaper scythe at it. A swell of purple energy burst across it, but Romillisect took another slurp of her blood and spat another swarm of insects to reinforce it further.
Oh,
At
she
least
was
for now,
reinforcing it.
nobody was getting through to help the Mavericks.
Ah,
Kaiju
damn
Grex's
it.
body
Damn
shrunk.
it.
He marched closer to Psycho and growled.
Brother, we came here to watch a show, not be part of it. Leave the boy be. I want to keep watching.
I don't care what you want, Grex. I'm not letting this little anomaly loose to keep breaking reality.
Romillisect flew in closer.
Don't care what we want, huh? You're sounding more and more like El Jurarok every day.
Even with his face still shattered open, unable to express much, Alcaya could tell those words struck Psycho. He looked
They
down
don't
at the
know.
struggling kid in his arm and froze for a beat. If Alcaya could have run in to try snatching him away, she would have, but her leg was not cooperating. Thankfully, Psycho's head reformed as he lowered the boy down. He released off-screen and was clearly trying to sound more casual and unfazed as he said,
Fine. The game goes on, if only because I find it incredibly entertaining myself that Eloise here seems to have gathered a pack of miscreants largely composed of people secretly plotting to betray her. Seriously, does your whole school want you dead?
Yeah, pretty
Ludum
much.
finally looked away from Evangeline trying to break through the barrier above.
Whatever. This is still my arena, my realm, and I am still in control. The game goes on. All that changes now is that the Tahe headmistress and that insufferable Sharp gang will have to watch from afar as my littles tear this insolent class apart.
She floated up
I think it might be time for something drastic. And by drastic, I mean a dimensional takeover.
into the air and whistled 3 times.
To explain what I mean by that, I mean somehow taking this dimension away from Ludum's command, control, all of that. Which I have no idea how you would even get that done.
Cackling roar that was becoming all too familiar pierced the walls from the next arena over, only getting louder as the wall was smashed open. Stomping through into full view with glowing purple eyes and dark green smoke billowing around it was the titanic Ludum.
There it
It was
is.
a dragon that had literally haunted Alsaya's nightmares, but now
A
she
dragon.
knew she and her friends could kill it. They could do it, rub it in Ludum's face, and then, with her now trapped in the arena with them, they could finish her off next.
That would be the
Psycho
ultimate
sneered
goal.
at Alex as he backed away to watch.
Good luck helping with all my cameras on you now, kid.
Careful, Archon. All this talk of filming underage boys is sure to get you put on a list somewhere.
Alex joked as he wiped dirt off his shirt.
I've literally murdered billions of people. You think my reputation can get worse?
I feel culturally speaking, peeping on kids is still more frowned upon than mass murder.
He's
Would
right.
you just shut up and fight something?
Psycho had a bunch of tendrils burst out of one of the walls and make a platform for the Archons to sit on and watch. It felt weird having them there and not doing anything about it, but one of them had managed to fight through the strongest students like they were flailing toddlers. As tough as the Mavericks were, they weren't taking on 3 Archons themselves. Before Alsaya even had to
Yeah,
call
that'd
for
be
him,
tough.
Jake flew over to her. How bad is it? With his hands glowing green, he pressed them against her knee before she even answered. Her leg instantly started feeling better, but not completely. Alsaya winced. It's not great. Just try, please. I'm not sitting this out.
He still needs to somehow increase his healing ability. But the only way to actually do that would be to, well, keep healing and finding new ways to actually use it.
He nodded confidently. Don't worry, you'll get back up all right. We Mavericks always do, but, you know, sometimes we just need a minute. Before she could respond, Alsaya's eyes darted back to the little Conus. Jake, look out! The beast's grinning maw thrust down to the ground and a plume of smoke billowed out right towards them. Before it even reached, Alsaya started getting dizzy from the approaching scent. Thankfully, Waru flew by, snatched them both off the ground, and flew out of the way. The beast started turning to follow them with the smoke, but Amelia flew at its head with Anna clutching to her back, holding her breath. At the very last second, Anna breathed, made them both tangible, and Amelia
Good job.
hammered her monstrosity fist into the beast's jaw.
That's a
Its head
punch.
swung in the opposite direction, and Anna made them both intangible again as they flew through a cloud of its smog to the ground, then bounded away from it.
Guerrilla
Waru
tactics.
dropped Jake and Anna
Nice.
right near off-screen, as Waru said, Well, Amani, you're the one who knows everything about Littles. What are this one's powers again? Besides being creepy and smelling so bad it paralyzes you? Alsaya stared briefly in fear as the beast started stomping after Amelia and Anna. Zenith soared in behind its head and made 2 huge golden blades appear. He thrust his arm back, about to swing them forward into its neck, but as if it had a mind of its own, the beast's tail whipped up from behind it and smacked Zenith out of the sky. Its tail then started laughing,
Yeah, it does actually have a mind of its own. This is some Shin Godzilla level crap.
revealing there was a grinning maw on it as well. Thankfully, Zenith fell right towards Darwin's snake, who coiled its body into a spring and cushioned Zenith's landing.
Thanks,
Alsaya
Titana.
shook off her concern. The little Conus is Ludum's worst creation. Take a single breath of its smoke and you'll be unable to move for at least 5 minutes. Unless Jake gets you to heal you, I guess. If you breathe in more than that, you'll start to hallucinate and your lungs will basically start to rot. It's also got a slime breath
yikes.
attack that'll have the same effect if it touches your skin, but it's also insanely sticky. Like Sammy's slime powers. Oh, what? It's a ripoff of me? That ain't right. Sammy suddenly sprang over to Alsaya's side, with Vinda Daymar running on behind him, and 2 of her summoned fiends waiting for orders. Alsaya was caught off guard seeing them. Waru
Oh,
shrugged. Right, in case you didn't hear, I got these 2 on side for my plan B, which didn't pan out.
Yeah, plan
Ludum
B
chucked
failed.
him in here
So
too.
plan A.
Alsaya scowled at them for a moment, then sighed.
Plan A failed, plan B failed, now on to plan C. Kill her.
Fine, I guess if Waru can start caring about other people, anyone can. Ouch, but fair. Now, would you hurry up
It's
and
not
tell us how
wrong.
to take this thing down? Jake interjected. I'm healing her as fast as I can, but, Waru, did I see that you can upgrade other people's powers now? Oh, yeah, here, try this. If you feel like you're gonna have a heart attack, let me know.
Yeah,
Waru
let me
flicked
know.
the
I'll pull
floating
it back.
white orb near him into Jake's chest. He took a deep, shocked breath as white energy surged through him. His hands started to glow even brighter, and bubbling green goop started swelling out of them around Alsaya's entire leg.
Ooh.
After just 5 more seconds, Alsaya bounded to her feet, kicking her leg around totally uninjured. Jake said,
That's how you do it.
"Okay, that's awesome, but yeah, Hart is feeling very attacked." Waru called the orb out and Jake panted in breaths. "Okay, good to know that's an option, but you were saying Alsaya..."
Okay, does anyone else want to see Alexis the Reaper full powered with Waru's abilities? That would be epic.
Sticky slime, toxic smoke, so I need to watch out for anyone in need of healing, and Anna should be watching for anyone getting stuck that she can unstick with her phasing. But how do we kill it? I don't know, Alsaya stammered, trying to sound confident. Ludum didn't exactly want to advertise weaknesses for this thing. Its skin is really thick, but not impenetrable, so we could try to take its head off or something, but
Go for
that
the tail
might
first.
be shooting or stabbing down its throat. I thought we tossed the Alex kid into its gullet, Sammy cut in. Nobody'd be able to see him in there, right? So he can just make an explosion happen from inside it or whatever he does.
Okay, Sammy, that's a jackass move, but that's also a great plan.
That ain't a bad idea. That ain't a good one, but not bad. All
He
things
signed off on
considered.
it. You heard him.
Alex
Throw him.
replied. Jake shook his head. It's too risky. You could get chewed up on your way in, or get too paralyzed and confused by the smoke to do anything once you're in there. But getting you out of sight is still a good option if we can figure out how. For now, let's get what we know to the others, including to the LAFF kids. Whether they're happy about it or not, we're all in this together now. Jake flew off towards Anna, who was now riding on a flying, spore-formed beetle behind Niseko, who was on a mantis. Alsaya
Sweet.
turned to Waru. So, is your power even better when you use it to upgrade people other than yourself? He smirked. Ironic, huh? Or just an overly obvious lesson about helping others waiting to round out my arc from the beginning. She shook her head. What? Nothing.
Yeah,
So,
don't worry about
You
it.
want to try super speed or what? Because as serious as this whole situation is, I kinda just want to see what everyone can do with my upgrades now.
Hell yeah, that'd be awesome to see. There it is. The dragon.
Oh, look at that. I got non-canonical again. Probably
Oh.
to talk about the new Popcross Fantasy Beasts coloring book, right?
That does seem to be
Ah,
why
now
you
we'll go
dragged
see
your
the kids.
boy.
Zoofiathan? What has you got to do
Oh, Zephyathan. Huh, wasn't expecting to hear from him again, though it is non-canonical.
with the Fantasy Beasts coloring book?
Nothing, but since I'm dead and all these stupid ads are the only place I can show up for now, and I'm just as qualified as anyone to tell people about the 50 dragons and beasts they can color in this book.
Well, sure, but if you're here, we could advertise the Demons coloring book. Or the novel you're actually a part of, Fear of the Demon Hunters.
Yeah, you're a key
Well, I do
figure.
enjoy revisiting the number of digs I got in on Psycho Perdlick during my battle with him in that story. I really think we should just stay on topic here.
Wow, I
Fine,
did not
fine.
think Zoofiathan would be the one of you two keeping things on track.
What can I say, Pop? I'm pretty amped up right now. I was just in a fight for my life before I got dragged here into my non-canonical form to do this.
Yeah, okay, I guess that is kind of my bad. You can wrap this up, Zoe.
Coloring books and novels can be found on the Popcross Amazon bookstore, linked in the description. Now go do your best to slit Psycho Perdlick's stupid throat for me, boy.
Alsaya nodded eagerly at Waru's offer. He flipped
I just thought of the biggest power play that could be done once Psycho is dead. Take his TV screen head and use it like an actual regular TV.
his speed orb into her chest. Her body swelled with golden light, and for the first time, Alsaya's mind was moving as fast as her body. She took off and actually felt like she was moving at a fairly normal speed, but everyone around her was moving like they were in slow motion, including the little Canis.
Now that
She
is
zipped past
speed.
6 different laughing littles headed for the others and pounded them in the head and knees, watching them slowly start to fall over and fly back as she ran on towards the dragon. Her heart was pounding like it was going to crack through her ribs. She couldn't maintain this for long, but she wanted to get at least one good hit in on the main event. She ran past a swell of smoke near the beast's side and reached its back leg, which was slowly raising off the ground. She jumped onto it and ran along the side of its body up to its neck until she reached its eye. With all her strength,
Yes.
she hammered her
Yes.
fist right into it. She felt her knuckles scratch the flesh of its cornea, and its eyelids slowly started to slam shut as she
Pop
leapt
the
off
eyeball.
it, using the orb's flight power to make her descent gradual enough not to hurt. She hit the ground and sprinted right back around to Waru.
Okay, that's enough, pull it out.
She spoke too fast for him to hear, but he got what she meant. He called the orb back out so Alcya could hear at normal speed, as the little Conus shrieked in fury. Unfortunately, the agony quickly turned into a painfully gleeful laugh, as it leered its bleeding eye towards her. Ludum growled, still floating
Did
above the
pop it, I guess.
battlefield but below the barrier.
Yes, my darling creation. That's the one that poked your poor eye. The first one to betray me should be the first to die.
Alcya yelled.
Give it a try.
Don't flatter me, Ludum. You're 1,000,000 years old and you suck, so I'm sure lots of people have betrayed you before me. As Ludum's face went red once again, Waru turned to Sammy and Vinda.
You know, it's
so
true.
you guys want a shot? Here. He flicked his energy projection orb into Sammy and his strength orb into Vinda. Sammy's slimy body bubbled up and grew to twice the size until he aimed his palms and fired a beam of slime at the little Conus's feet.
Yes.
It flapped up into the air, coming towards them all, but the slime still soared under it, hit its tail, and clumped around it, binding it to the ground. The beast's body lurched backwards, and it tried to tear its tail free. Waru hoped Sammy would aim for its mouth next to stop its smoke attacks, but
Do it,
he had
Sammy.
to turn and shoot at a set of 3 littles that were charging and flying at them from the side. The little Conus was the main threat, but not the only one. While Sammy was getting those 3 all gunked up, Vinda had keeled over. Waru was about to call his orb back out, thinking he was hurting her, but then saw a huge fiend was forming out of her back. By the time it emerged fully, it was 3 times her size and looked like a burly ogre.
Oh,
He
damn.
called the orbs back out of both Sammy and Vinda just after that.
Is it like a full Shrek?
But thankfully,
there we go,
the ogre
sorry.
fiend remained. Wow, maybe we should do that a few times and really milk that power. Vinda shook her head.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's cool and all, but it literally felt like someone was tearing out my spine.
Still, she set the ogre
Sorry.
fiend on a burly magma little coming towards them, and it easily tackled it over, pinning it down and stomping into its head. Alcya might not have liked Sammy and Vinda much, but seeing them upgraded was pretty cool. Still, the little Conus had its eyes on her, and green slime was bubbling in its throat. She started to run, now back to thinking at normal speed and having to be more careful. The little Conus spat slime behind her, then whipped its head and spat right ahead of her. A streak of goop landed right in her path. She leapt up, just barely getting over it, but as her feet found the floor, another streak appeared right in front of her, and there was no time to evade or slow down.
I've got you,
crap.
Alcya.
She heard the voice and was actually surprised to find that it wasn't Tale's. Amelia, now only half-formed into her monstrosity body, landed next to Alcya, moving in the same direction, grabbed her around
Oh.
the waist, and leapt up over the slime. Unfortunately, another
Nice.
streak of it was spat right into the ground where they were headed to land. This time, Alcya did get help from her young God-Queller ally. Now I've got the both of you. Tale leapt into their path from the ground nearby, and they essentially tackled into her. She then teleported all 3 of them back to her blade, stuck into the ground farther from the little Conus. It likely would have kept coming for Alcya if Shinobu hadn't been flown right in front of its face, carried by Zenith, who hurled her into it and she slammed her club into its already injured eye, then spat a beam of flames to follow that up. With that distracting it, Alcya, Tale, and Amelia had a moment to regroup. Alcya nodded.
Come
Good
on,
catch,
guys.
Amelia. And then you too, Tale. Alcya immediately bit her tongue, realizing she hadn't used her friend's secret identity name in front of a maverick. Amelia's eyes darted briefly towards Tale.
Am I that bad with names? I thought you were called Katos.
Alcya was worried Tale would be mad. Alcya had even managed to keep quiet about her friend's secret identity when Ares, who surely would have recognized her and her true name, had shown up
Obviously.
at the Trismegistus Academy a few months back. Why had her real name slipped out of Alcya's mouth now? As it turned out, Katos didn't really care.
Oh, relax, Alcya. I can see the fear splashed across your face, but it's fine. I already revealed myself to the Archons and Ludum anyhow. My
Yeah,
true name
it's
is
all
Tale
fine.
Finemo, and I'd rather everyone know me as the God Queller I am, as I slay Ludum and her beast.
Amelia's eyes
Do
went
it up.
wide and her jaw dropped.
Wait, Finemo? God Queller? You're a descendant of Mythil and Ortus Finemo?
Tale looked very pleased by
Literally the granddaughter. So not just a descendant, one that would have met them.
the attention.
Yes, they are my grandparents, and I'm
There it
here
is.
to prove myself worthy of their lineage.
Amelia was practically bouncing up and down.
This is incredible! Alcaya, you knew it. It doesn't matter. Your grandmother is my idol. I want to fight with the same bravery and ferocity as her.
Tale replied.
I intend the same for myself, and I must say, from what I've seen of you thus far, for your age, your skills as a warrior would likely impress my elder, Amelia.
Oh, completely.
Amelia practically squealed with delight.
That is the best compliment I've ever received. This may be a long shot, but have you ever wanted a rival?
Tale looked her up and down.
An intriguing notion. Perhaps if the right warrior came across my path. Speak with me about it again when this battle has concluded.
Tale sprinted back towards the
Awesome.
colonist, leaping onto the back of a flaming werewolf-like Ludum in her path. She grabbed it and slammed its head into the dirt as she moved. Amelia went full monstrosity again and charged on behind her, grabbing that same wolf Ludum and hurling it straight up so far so fast that it smashed into the barrier above. As it flailed, falling back
Damn.
down, Tale hurled her weapon up towards it, teleported right to the little side, then spun around and kicked it even faster down towards Amelia. She reeled back her crystalline fist, and when the Ludum reached her, Amelia pounded its torso, sending it hurtling right into the little Conus's face, making the dragon lose focus as it was about to breathe another swell of smoke towards Waru, who had grouped up with Naseko, Jake, and Anna. Tale landed down next to Amelia and said,
That's how you do it.
Impressive strength. I'll have to bring you to train in the Chimera capital sometime. That was when an idea struck Alcaya. Unfortunately, she didn't notice that she was also about to be struck by something worse. A 10-foot-tall minotaur Ludum had managed to slowly lumber up behind her and raised its fists over her head. It began
Oh,
swinging
crap.
down towards her. She caught it in her peripheral vision, but luckily didn't have to evade. 2 large rabbit feet sprang into the Ludum's face and shoved it back before its arms could hit their mark. Kiko flipped backwards from
Kiko,
the blow
yes,
and
thank
landed
you.
next to Alcaya. As the Minotaur stumbled back, Alcaya sprinted around behind it and
Kiko, I'm so sorry for thinking you were the mole.
pounded her fists into the backs of its knees. Its legs buckled and it fell far enough for its head to splash down into a pool of magma. It shrieked and writhed as its head burned, and Alcaya darted back around to Kiko. Thanks, but now I need your help with something else. Kiko nodded cheerfully. Of course, what's up? Speaking quietly, Alcaya said, Tale, that's Katasa's real name, by the way, long story, her Chimera Capital Pocket Dimension thing. We need to get that off-screen. Alcaya still didn't know exactly how this kid could warp reality in their favor, but if an Archon was desperate...
Wait, that's it! Use the Chimera Capital and send off-screen into it. And that way he'll be literally taken away from this dimension, no one will be able to see him, and he can do anything!
for him to
Yes!
not use his powers, then it had to be something good. As Alcaya started to run, she looked up past the barrier to see the Sharp Gang having their own war with an even more massive army of Littles and more of Eloise's students above. Whatever help Offscreen could give, she just hoped it would be enough to help on that front, too.
Now this is a war. With all having speed, and we now have green, red, and yellow. All we need is blue.
You know, originally the combat tournament was only going to be the halfway point of this series, but I also only had very vague ideas about what was going to happen in the second half, so this actually works a lot better. Anyway, besides that, that's all for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of positive or
inspiring note.
And the thought I want to leave people with today is a nice simple quote I read this week that's definitely a concept I've talked about before, but I like the simplicity of how it was phrased here. It said,
Oh, yeah?
Losers quit when they fail, winners fail until they succeed. I've said
Ooh.
before, I don't love labeling
Kind of
anyone as
classic one.
losers, but I think the simplicity of that phrasing makes that idea very clear. I hope it's an inspiring reminder. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next episode on Friday. Goodbye.
Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.